So again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Haman. Okay, that has absolutely nothing to do with my sermon today, by the way. Just always like to start with people awake before they fall asleep. So, David Foster Wallace, in a famous commencement speech that he gave in 2005 at Kenyon College, noted that our world is surrounded and our daily language is infused with all these banal platitudes of different kinds of things that people say and different expressions that people put out there that seemingly have been used so often that they are devoid of any meaning. And yet he comes back and he says, the fact that in the everyday, day-to-day trenches of adult experiences, these banal platitudes can have life or death importance to us. And so I would like to begin my sermon today with one of those platitudes and begin examining why it is that this thing that we say, this thing that we hear on a daily, if not weekly basis, contains within it a way to direct us in our own lives, in our own day-to-day trenches of adult experience. And that platitude is this one: every dog has its day. Every dog has its day. You've either said it or you have heard it. But this is one of those platitudes that has been out there for a long time and is a part and parcel of daily speech. Interestingly enough, the origin of it is in some doubt. Some say that the expression every dog has its day goes all the way back to the Greek philosopher Euripides, who upon his death was torn apart by dogs. However, the first known written appearance of the expression of every dog has its day was actually found in the letters of then Princess Elizabeth, who would go on to become Queen Elizabeth I and reign England and Great Britain for 40 years. She was asked by a friend of hers for a picture, and in response, she wrote to him, notwithstanding, as a dog hath a day, so may I have it in my ability and deeds to declare it so. In other words, here she says, when I have the power, when the day has come, when the dog hath its day, in this case Elizabeth being the dog, she will respond to the request of the picture. All well and good. So here we have the expression in its original use in English in and around the middle of the 1500s. It will then come back and be used as a popular expression in a number of different places, perhaps most famously in 1603 in Hamlet, when Shakespeare writes, "Let Hercules do what he may, let the cow mew, and the dog have its day." So we have this expression. It goes back 400 years and used any number of times. And its basic meaning is this: every single person has their moment. Every single one of us. Every single one of us will feel over the course of our lives that we are being beaten down, that we are not being heard, that the things that we say are not being taken in, and that we are not given the proper forum to be able to declare to the world the things that we think are important. But, says this expression, every single dog has its day, so that you will get your time. You may be frustrated, you may be in pain, you may be struggling, but you will have your time in the sun. Every dog will have its day. And what is the key characteristic, if we take this expression past just the surface, what is the key characteristic, the key quality that every one of us must develop in order for us to be able to fill the expression, every dog will have its day? Several different ones. What would you suggest? In order for this to come true, what quality do you think you would need to develop? Confidence. Okay, so when that moment comes, you have got to be able to seize it and take it. What else? Patience. Patience, because You have to be able to bear the burden of everyday life. Bear the burden of everyday life so that when that moment comes, you are prepared. Rather than letting everyday life overwhelm us, if we deal with it with patience, when the moment comes, we're there. That's why the Hebrew word savlanut also shares the same root as the word to carry or be a porter, because we carry the pain and struggles of every day waiting for that moment to come. What other quality might you throw out there? Yeah. Perseverance, along with courage, along with patience, perseverance as well. Anyone else have a particular quality? Yeah. Huh? Purpose. Why so purpose? Right, so knowing that that day is going to come gives you that purpose to go forward? Lovely. They're all wonderful qualities. They're all wonderful qualities. For what it is worth, to my mind, the chief among those qualities more than anything else, though I would have put and could have put any of these in, is faith. You gotta have faith. You have to believe that the world will in fact turn in such a way so that eventually in all of that spinning and all of that turning, that moment will present itself to you. Now, having faith is not something I talk about what I believe in. Having faith is a matter of actually believing in life itself. Believing that with courage, with patience, with persistence, with purpose, that my day will come. All of those qualities will help me take advantage of it. But it is faith that enables me to wait. It is faith that tells me that not every single day is my day. I think Kanye West could learn something from this. Not every single Grammy Awards needs to be trumped by your antics. Not every day is my day. Every dog has its day means that I wait for my day. Every dog having its day means that my purpose is to have the patience, the persistence, the courage, the purpose, all tied up in my faith so I can take advantage when the moment presents itself. Now, while this expression may have only appeared in English about 500 years ago, the concept of every dog having its day is in fact an old one. So old, in fact, so we see in the Talmud itself a similar expression, but with a twist that opens it up for us in a very powerful way. In the Talmud, we read in a commentary on Genesis chapter 50, where at this point in time, we're at the very end of the book of Genesis, Joseph's brothers are bowing down to him. Their father, Jacob, having passed away, their lives are completely in Joseph's hands. Without Jacob there, Joseph has free rein to do whatever he wants to do. And at that moment, with the brothers bowing down to Joseph, the rabbis say the following, Ta'ala be'idnei sagidle, which basically translates as, when the fox has his hour, you bow to him. Now, the first part is just our every dog has its day, when the fox has its hour. It's the second part that is so interesting. The rabbis say that everyone bows to the fox in the fox's hour. See, the first part of the expression just tells you what to do when you're the dog. But what do you do when you're in the presence of the dog? The rabbi's instructions, bow. Now that's hard to do. That's hard to do because it requires us to be willing to acknowledge that not every day is our day. What quality do you think would be most important here to learn to bow to the fox? Okay, empathy, absolutely. Being able to be aware that someone else can have that day and be sensitive where they are. Humility, creating the space to let them have their time. I heard something over here. Humility. Huh? Faith. I already used faith. But if a certain amount of faith would be good, because faith not necessarily in the moment, but faith in the moment that you too will have your day. But for at least this conversation, I'm going to go with humility. Though there are any number of qualities, again, that we could apply, and I open people to kind of consider it for yourselves. To my mind, humility is the most important quality that we can possess when we're in the presence of the fox. Because oftentimes when we see someone having their day, when we see them claiming their moment, we want to take a piece of it as well. We want to hold on to it. We want to be a part of it. We want to have that sense of attention that is drawn to us as well. Why is it all going to them? Why doesn't it come to me? Because every dog has its day. You will get your day. But right now, one needs to have humility to appreciate the day that the other person is having. There is a great definition that we find in the Talmud about humility, and it talks about humility as being defined by someone in shul having their makom kavua, their fixed place. And it said that a person who has their fixed place in synagogue, that is a person who possesses great humility. Why would that be the case? Because humility is a matter of taking up the right amount of space in any given situation. When a person comes and they sort of move around every time they come into a place, right? Their moving around forces others to move as well. And so the rabbis teach that knowing our fixed place within our world at any given moment is a sign of humility, because I'm not taking up more space than I am entitled or than I should. And so we see that in our day-to-day life, the expression, every dog has its day, or if you will, when the fox has his hour, you must bow to him, teaches us two fundamental qualities that can help us with everyday life. Faith. Faith that my moment will come. Faith that I won't be overlooked. Faith that my voice too will be heard. And humility. A humility that respects the other, that listens to the other, that lets them have their time to shine as well. I find these two qualities of faith and humility fundamental qualities to appreciating the drama in this week's Torah portion. Now, on the surface, Parshat Tetzaveh is a most boring Torah portion. Okay? I want it to be understood that by saying that I consider it to be a boring Torah portion, I am not in any way denigrating its holiness. It is a very holy Torah portion. It just happens to read a little on the dull side. And it does so because it is just awash in details. Details about the clothing that the high priest would wear. Details about all the steps that they had to go through to initiate the high priest Aaron and his sons into the priesthood. It is such a contrast to the beautiful Haftarah that Amanda chanted, which was all dynamic and narrative and action, that here you have this Torah portion that is just filled with detail after detail after detail. But amidst all those details, we can lose the drama that unfolds beneath the surface. Because this is a Torah portion about a dog having his day. And the dog in this case is Aaron. This is Aaron's moment. Aaron, who had been the older brother, passed over by God for his younger brother Moses to be chosen as God's speaker. This is Aaron who stood by Moses' side, merely being nothing more than the mouthpiece, merely saying only what it is that Moses told him to say to Pharaoh and to the Israelites. This is Aaron who has stood in Moses' shadow from the very moment God reached out to Moses at the burning bush and used Moses to lead the people. Aaron was there the whole time, but you wouldn't even know it. And now Aaron gets to be the high priest. And now Aaron has his day. And he had to have faith. Persistence, purpose, courage, all of those as well. and patience. But it is faith, I will suggest, that enabled him to play that role so ably. It is his faith that allowed him to realize that his time would come. It is his faith that allowed him to deal with the fact that he had been usurped by his younger brother, as we saw consistently throughout the book of Genesis, where the younger was always taking the place of the older, and he was able to take that in and deal with it because he knew his day would come. And then there's Moses. This week's Torah portion is notable because it is the only Torah portion from the book of Exodus through the book of Deuteronomy where Moses' name is never mentioned even once. And so just as we see Aaron having his day, so too we see Moses' humility, his ability to step back, his ability to know his place in the world and to realize that not every single Torah portion needs to have his name in it. He steps back in humility so that Aaron can have his full day. And they're able to do this, and in the process, consecrate a priesthood and a sacred space. So with Moses representing humility and Aaron embodying faith, it would be my prayer that we learn from the two of them in this week's Torah portion, that we learn to have enough faith to wait for our turn, and that we have the humility to let others have theirs as well. If we are but able to practice these qualities in our day-to-day life, it could be that expression, every dog has its day, is truly much more profound than we ever would have thought. Shabbat shalom, everyone.